The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Good evening and welcome to Sudden Impact Radio, right here on Blog Talk Radio. I am the man they call Meathead, and we are watching the main event of Robert Roode, or Bobby Roode, taking on the TNA Heavyweight Champion, the Cowboy, James Storm, a bit of a hometown favorite, if you will, wrestling for the TNA Heavyweight Championship of the world, and they're going head-to-head right now. Again, spoiler-free zone, so we're not going to talk about what may happen or what could happen, but thank you for joining us here again, 10 o'clock Central, right after TNA Impact. If you haven't yet been to our Facebook page, Pro Wrestling Report / Pro Wrestling Report, and on to the Facebook page, also Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at WCW Meathead, also on Facebook as the man they call Meathead. But let's talk about Impact. Again, Impact originating from Macon, Georgia this week, another on-the-road Impact TV taping. Again, I think they're doing themselves a disservice right now when they're not doing Impacts live. I know the production costs, and I know the amount of money that it takes to do a live television broadcast, but I think this episode could have drew a lot better numbers if not for the spoiler zone. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. It was the question I posed to everybody over on the Pro Wrestling Report page on Facebook. Does spoilers ruin TNA wrestling? Is that their downfall? I think it is. I want to hear what you guys have to say. If you want to call into the program, give us a call at 347-996-5278. That's area code 347-996-5278. So the question for the night is spoilers ruining TNA Impact? Again, I think it is, and I want to hear what you have to say. Also, don't forget to hit us up in the chat-osphere, and if you're going to use Twitter and you want to mention the show and you want to maybe get your tweet put on the show, use the hashtag Sudden Impact. We're going to run down those in the third segment of the show here. We'll also run down the Facebook page posts as well. But question of the night, going out to everybody, is the spoilers ruining Impact? Could this have been a more interesting show as I look at Robert Roode eyeballing a beer bottle sitting on the stairs? Is this ruining the show? I mean, if you didn't know, because most of you watch this or read the spoilers, most of you already know what's going to happen as Bobby Roode's taking a look at that beer bottle and, I don't know, it looks like he may go for it, but is it ruining it? If you didn't know this was going to happen, would you be into it? Would you be watching? Would you be watching live? You never know. So we're going to take a quick call here, area code 832. That's area code 832. I want you to tell me your first name and the state that you're calling from. Go ahead.
What up, dog? It's Ricardo from Houston, Texas.
Ricardo, Houston, Texas. Houghton, what's happening?
I believe the first time I ever speak with you. I always speak with Damien, but I get hung up on all the time.
Well, hopefully things go better for you this time. Ricardo, we are just looking at, by the way, Ricardo, let me stop you for a second. We are just looking, by the way, Bobby Roode, new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, with a beer bottle to the head of the Cowboy, James Storm. The question to everybody, and I'm going to ask you too, Ricardo, is, are spoilers ruining TNA wrestling?
Of course.
Okay.
Everybody knew about this, a week ago, 2 weeks ago? Everybody knew this happened already. What was the point of watching last week? You knew it was going to happen this week.
Right, so you think that killed last week's numbers as well?
Excuse me?
Do you think that killed last week's ratings as well? Because by the time it aired, by the time Impact was on the air last week, we already had the TV tapings in the book for next week. So do you think that killed their ratings for 2 weeks in a row?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to kill it for this week. I think they might pull a 1 point. I don't know, 2 or something. I don't know what they'll pull. I'm sure it'll be good to their standards, but it ruined it because we know what's going to happen. And this is the thing that gets me. Bound for Glory was a little bit over a month ago. Hulk Hogan said Robert Roode's not ready. And fast forward 4 weeks later, all of a sudden he is.
Yeah.
So you basically made the 20,000 fans that ordered Bound for Glory pay $50 for nothing, and you basically screws them out of $50. And not $50. I'm sorry, $45. Or however much they charge.
Right.
$45, and you basically gave it away for free on TV. And you made us go through 6 months of that stupid Bound for Glory series for nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the payoff was that Robert Roode, was going to be the champion. And it looks like from what we just saw on Impact tonight that it looks like that Bobby Roode is going to be a heel champion. And, I just saw David Hero mention on Twitter as well, do we as fans really care as much when tag team champions feud with each other, over belts? Do we care? I mean, WWE's tried to feed that down our throats for the last how many WrestleManias with, WrestleMania opponents becoming tag team champions or being tag teams after Royal Rumble. Do we care?
Yeah, I think we don't care when tag teams get split up. When was the last time we cared about a tag team getting split up and they feuded with each other, like Jannetty and Michaels?
Well,
that might be the last time we cared.
Then again, the WWE will have you, and this isn't, I know everybody listening to the show thinks not, now that the show has started, now that we're doing Sudden Impact, and I've become this huge TNA mark, it's not the case. If I were doing this right after Raw, you'd hear me talk about WWE the same way I'm talking about it on the show here. Their tag team division is done. They may have tag teams, but they don't matter. Their tag team champs don't matter. It doesn't matter at all. TNA has at least made the effort to give you tag team wrestling.
Do they matter in TNA?
They should. I mean, the girls' tag teams matter. Right now, the James Storms and
do you honestly care about the women's tag team division?
Do I even care? Because I get to watch Gail Kim wrestle now. And I'm not saying this because, Dave Hero's a Gail Kim mark or Damien's a Gail Kim mark. I like watching her wrestle. I don't want to listen to her talk as much, but I like to watch her wrestle.
Well, I like to watch her move around and wrestle too. But do you honestly care about the women's tag team division in TNA? I personally don't. I mean,
I'm invested in it. I like to see the girls go, but then again, they don't give us enough matches to really invest 100% of our time into it. We might have a women's tag team, issue for a week to 2 weeks, and they might hotshot it, and then it disappears for a month. So I care. I want it to be there. I really think that if they put that on the show every week, people would care. So, Ricardo, anything else? Let me ask this.
You only have a 2-hour slot period. I mean, how much can you fit in there?
Sure. Ricardo, let me ask you this. Pass or fail tonight? It's something we do on the show every week. Pass or fail, how was Impact tonight?
Fail, because it made me waste $45 on Bound for Glory just to give it away for free here on Impact.
And you bought the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I actually paid for it. I did not stream Bound for Glory. I paid for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not into the streaming either, so I appreciate it. I know TNA appreciates it, but yeah, I can understand where you're coming from, being upset that your investment into Bound for Glory now has been kind of crapped on over the last 3 weeks of television that we just watched. So,
yep.
Ricardo, good hearing from you. I know that you've been calling us on the Monday night show, so glad to hear you finally catch up and call us on the Thursday night show. Hope to hear from you again. We're going to take another call, okay? Yep, thanks, Ricardo, for calling in. We're going to take another call, area code 973. I want you to give me your first name and where you're calling from. 973, go ahead.
What's up, Meathead?
Hey, what's up? Who's this?
Don from New York.
Don from New York. What do you got, bud?
Oh, Ricardo, first of all, needs to turn that frown upside down or whatever that expression is. I mean, first of all,
he's heated, but he's saying it, so.
I know. First of all, he's ripping the women's tag team division in TNA. You crazy? That's one of my hugest criticisms of WWE is they don't have a women's tag team division. I love that stuff. I don't know. Forget it. But hey, listen. As far as your question about spoilers, look, we're not going to go backwards to the Stone Age
right.
where we're writing on tablets. Okay.
Correct.
If it spoils, it should be an individual basis. If
sure.
it spoils it for you, don't read the spoilers. It's not like I walk out in the morning and there's a plane flying overhead, with one of those banners towing it, saying, James Storm, your new, or Bobby Roode, your new champion.
It's not like the 40-year-old virgin where he's walking down the street and it's on a bus. It's on the sign. Oh, come on,
yeah.
boss.
I have no problem with that.
I'll give you a quick.
It is what it is. But now, here's how you solve the problem. Mm-hmm. If you do a live show, at least TNA, if you do a live show once a week, and like for instance tonight where you had Storm and Rude, if you're gonna do a live show, there'll be no spoilers. We don't. I mean, a little bit leaks out about Raw now and then, but it's not like SmackDown. SmackDown gets taped on Tuesday, and I think that's one of the reasons they might be thinking about moving the show to Tuesday nights. Could be for that very reason as well. What do you think about that?
To be honest, I think it's now you're talking about moving SmackDown to Tuesday nights, correct? And doing it on Sci-Fi Network.
Yeah.
I think that's to avoid the spoilers, and I think it's a great idea. Again, I don't want to go too much into that, but I think it's a great idea. And I'm going to give you just a quick analogy before we wrap this up here.
Sure.
I'm a Packer fan. I work during the Packer games. My coworkers are very, very polite, and they also will avoid the game for me so I can go home and watch it on my own. I know how to avoid the radio, the TV, and everything, the Twitter, the Facebook, all that. If I don't want to be spoiled, I have no problem getting there. But it would be so much easier, and it would be so much more, I guess, there would be so much more hype to the game. There would be so much more, buzz about the game or the wrestling match if it was live. Anything could happen. If something really drastic happened, I'd end up hearing about it before I got to it, especially with wrestling. Sports are a little bit different. That's a couple hours difference. Here with the tapings that just aired tonight, those happened last week. That's like 9 days.
Yeah.
Of course we're going to find out what happened.
Yeah. Real quick question. Blizzard Brawl. Damian Nelson versus Chris Masters. Who are you picking?
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, obviously I want Chris Masters because I've challenged Damian to matches years ago. Damian and I, we've been broadcast partners on the Blizzard Brawl show. Now, what's going to actually go down at the show this year, I have no idea, but I'm rooting for Chris Masters.
Well, I tweeted this to David Hero the other day. I said it's kind of ironic that the move that Masters is going to use to defeat Nelson at Blizzard Brawl is really called the Full Nelson.
Right, has his name in it. And Damian's actually used that as when he was doing these short little videos a few years ago. It was called the Full Nelson. So ironic it is. So, all right, overall.
But TNA,
pass
always a pass. Love TNA, always a pass.
Okay, well, thanks for calling. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. So, again, I appreciate the call.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break. We're going to listen to a couple spots here. You're listening to Sudden Impact Radio on Blog Talk Radio. Welcome back to Sudden Impact Radio on Blog Talk Radio. I'm the man they call me, Ted, part of the Pro Wrestling Report. Hey, speaking of PWR, they're going to be doing another live broadcast this Monday night from Karma. So if you're in the Milwaukee area, head on down to Karma, 600 East Ogden, right next to Panera Bread. And fantastic time had by all out at the Halloween party, the first ever live broadcast, along with Linda Kay's costume. That's all I'm saying, because you guys weren't there. You need to see Linda Kay's costume. So, hey, let's talk about what happened on Impact tonight. We're going to kind of run down the show here. First, it obviously opens up with James Storm coming out, and then Bobby Roode, Robert Roode coming out later. I was a little uncomfortable with the man crush going on back and forth, and I honestly thought they should get a room. It was a little sickening, a little, I love you. No, I love you. You want this belt? I want this belt. I see the way you're looking at me. I see the way you're looking at me, too. That's how it felt to me. So a little awkward, a little uncomfortable. But, hey, they're going to tear it down. They're going to blow the roof off. They're going to be the best of friends. Obviously a big setup for the end of the night. So right after that, we get Madison Rayne and Gail Kim coming out to face Tara and Brooke Tessmacher, or Miss Tessmacher, for the Knockout Tag Team titles, with Karen Jarrett coming out alongside Madison Rayne and Gail Kim. Gail's been in the company now 3 weeks. Gail now has a belt. Madison Rayne and Gail Kim are the new Knockout Tag Champions, with interference from Karen Jarrett. I don't mind this. Again, as I was talking about earlier with Ricardo from Houston, I enjoy Knockout Tag Team wrestling. I think as long as you get wrestlers in there, as long as the girls are wrestling and not just punching and kicking, I enjoy it. Our last caller, too, from New York, he enjoys it as well. He gave it a pass. So as long as we have those, wrestling matches going on, I say keep it up. And, I'd love to see either a solid knockouts match or a solid knockouts tag team match every week. I know they do the knockouts a lot, but I'd love to see a solid knockouts tag team match as well. So, hey, what are you going to do? So, new champions, Gail Kim and Madison Rayne are the new champions. And Gail Kim will get a shot at the Knockouts Championship at the next pay-per-view as well. Gail Kim could be walking around with 2 belts. So, coming up next, and here's the thing. Again, I'm not as some have called Dave Hero, I'm also not a TNA apologist. I'm not a TNA super fan. I'm not a WWE hater. But I have a problem with this Garrett Bischoff thing that we're doing. Garrett Bischoff, again, on camera more than twice. Or it was 2 times, excuse me. Why is Garrett Bischoff, who can talk on the microphone? I know they were taping from Macon, Georgia. It honestly sounded like it was in the Impact Zone with a bunch of non-wrestling fans, because when he talked, I heard crickets. This is nothing against the kid. He's cutting his teeth. I get it. I understand. But why are we being force-fed Garrett Bischoff on the microphone? Let him wrestle a little bit. Let him take his bumps. Let him, why is he constantly talking on the microphone? And then Eric Bischoff coming out. Eric has lost a step from his NWO days. But Garrett Bischoff, it's just not meant for TV. I know it's TNA, so, they may take a bigger chance, but Garrett Bischoff, and again, I've saw it tweeted a bunch of times. I've thought the same thing too. When Eric called Garrett a son of a bitch, did he know he was calling his wife a bitch? It's just the tiny little things that just don't make sense. Makes you kind of giggle, kind of laugh inside, if you will. So I don't know. If you want to call into the program, don't forget the number 347-996-5278. 347-996-5278. Also, if you're putting up a tweet, make sure you're using the hashtag Sudden Impact. It might get read on the air. And the Pro Wrestling Report is on Facebook at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Report. Now, we're going to run down one more match here. And I don't have a strong opinion about the X Division. I like what happens in the X Division, but I'm not huge on it right now because it just doesn't have that pop to it like it did, say, a couple years ago when you had, say, in the Machine Guns or, the TNA Cup, I think was what it was called. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was International Teams Wrestling. It doesn't have the same fire to it that it used to have. I just don't know why it doesn't, but Jesse Sorensen, he beat A-Double in a non-title match. What was bothering me was Kid Cash on commentary. He was solid up until the end, where he's talking to Austin Aries, and he says, I'm going to go get a knife. Really? It's wrestling, man. You're going to go get a knife and stab him? That's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Let me guess. That knife that you're going to go get is now going to be up on a pole, and we're going to wrestle for it, right? But it's going to be a rubber knife, because why would you want to really stab somebody? So it didn't make sense. But then again, that's me. So, hey, we're going to take one more quick break. I'm going to get to everybody's posts on Twitter. I'm going to get to everybody in the chatmosphere or the chatosphere. So let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap this thing up. You're listening to Sudden Impact Radio right here on Blog Talk Radio. Welcome back to Sudden Impact Radio on Blog Talk Radio. Left Spike on in the background, and boy, Steve Austin looking a little bloody there. What is the name of this movie? He's all beat up in apparently The Stranger, so a little awkward watching Steve Austin all bloodied and battered and on my big screen. Hey, we're going to run down some of the Twitter responses. Again, use the hashtag Sudden Impact while you're watching Impact Wrestling, and they may end up on the show. So I do want to mention one here. Chill Mascaris has mentioned that Mickey Rourke is in a movie called Immortals. Obviously, with commercials airing during Sudden Impact, airing during Impact Wrestling, I found it ironic. Why didn't they have Mickey Rourke come out to TNA's Impact show and promote the show? Maybe hang out with Ric Flair. Don't those guys have a history together? I think it's a missed opportunity. So, Mascaris, good point there. And Wong Big, I'm not saying that. I just can't believe that Jabroni ever got FaceTime. No one ever bought a ticket with him as their draw. Not sure what he was talking about, but I got to assume that he was talking about Mickey Rourke. He didn't put it on there, so I'm just going to say that. Hey, we're going to take another call here. It's going to be from area code 718. Once again, I need your first name and the state that you're calling from. 718, go ahead. 718, go ahead. 718, he got 3, 2, and 1. 718, you can call back if you want to. Let's run down some of the posts in the chatosphere. World X Cup. NJ Brock 22, thank you. World X Cup, that's what it was called. I enjoyed the World X Cup. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't like I invested all my energy and time into watching the World X Cup, but I thought it was something different, unique, something to tune in to see. So, if they would start doing stuff like that again, maybe I'd be into it. I don't know. By the way, the Jersey Shore stuff that we saw tonight with Ronnie and little Robbie E and big Robbie T. Robbie E's got talent. He can work. He's got a good look about him, but he's got to fix that hair. The Jersey Shore thing, maybe it's cheap for TNA to bring in a Ronnie, as far as like a celebrity or a mainstream person. Maybe it's cheap. It's not that expensive to bring a guy like that in, but I don't see it happening, to be honest. And isn't the Jersey Shore thing almost done? Honestly, I don't watch the Jersey Shore, so maybe I'm not getting it. I don't know. The only thing I know about Jersey Shore is they did a spoof of it on South Park. That's it. That's all I know about it. So, but I tell you, Big Rob, Terry, it looks like they grabbed the whole picnic tablecloth, stapled some glitter on it, melted it on top of the guy, and it's still too small for him. That dude is humongous. I wish he could actually wrestle because he'd be worth watching. He's probably a real nice guy, but, again, wrestling not the place for you. So Robbie E. and Rob Terry came out, and they called out Ronnie from Jersey Shore with EY. EY still entertaining. Dude, the beard's got to go, seriously. But we also need a match from these guys, and it's going to happen next week at the next TNA tapings, which have technically already happened. But, again, I'm not a spoilers reader, so it'll be Robbie E. and Robbie T. taking on the team of Ronnie and the television champion, Eric Young. So maybe Eric will let Ronnie get in there and get some wrestling moves in, but it'll definitely be EY carrying the entire match. I guarantee you on that. Bully Ray and Jeff Jarrett took on Mr. Anderson, and Jeff Partridge. It went no contest. Here's another guy that I don't know why he's still on the program. Scott Steiner interfering, and the three Immortal guys, they beat down all the faces. What is Scott Steiner doing? What is he adding to the program? I don't understand why he's still there. Again, probably a nice guy, but what are you adding to the television broadcast? An occasional run-in once a month? Really, bro? Really? So, what are you going to do? There was a talking segment between Matt Morgan and Crimson, and I didn't realize how tall Crimson was when he was standing next to Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan's a big dude. I stood next to the guy. He is humongous. Matt Morgan's got so much stronger on the mic over the, 3, 4, 5 years that he's been in TNA. But Crimson's still a little bit of work needed. I think that could be a good match, but don't let them talk. Just let them beat each other. I think we could have a solid, not a wrestling match, a solid striker match, a solid punch kick brutality match. I think it's a pay-per-view match. I really do. I don't think it should be wasted on Impact. It'll probably be wasted on Impact, but I think it's a pay-per-view match, and I think it's a definite solid mid-card pay-per-view match. Will it get people to buy tickets? Will it get people to, pay for the pay-per-view? No, but it'll be entertaining, and it'll be another way for the guys to, make their way up the card. And again, Matt Morgan, he said it, and it's true. He has headlined pay-per-views for the company, so I think it's worth it. So, and then finally, after that, after we had Crimson and Matty Morgan, or Crims, as Mac Morgan calls him, we had Robert Roode and James Cowboy Storm for the title. It was an amazing match. Again, these guys obviously friends up and down the road. I mean, you know, they've melded into the real stuff, but in the background, yeah, they've been up and down the road. Yeah, they've worked together in the ring together. So, of course, they're going to put on a fantastic match. And then finally, James Storm loses to Robert Roode, who kept eyeballing good camera work, kept eyeballing the beer bottle, popped it over the head, and your winner and new World Heavyweight Champion is Robert Roode. By the way, have you heard Robert Roode and James Storm's new music? Loving it. I don't know who's doing it. I don't know if it's something that's in the background, you know, in one of their production guys, or they actually have a band doing it, but fantastic songs. Can't wait for them to come out on CD or be available via download, because I got to have them. They're fantastic songs. Plus new merchandise, which is always key, new merchandise for Robert Roode and Storm as well. So I like what they're doing with the originals. Good match tonight. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I think spoilers are killing TNA Impact. And we got to fail. We got to pass. I guess I'm the deciding vote. I'm going to say pass again, but barely. 50.1 to 49.9. It's a pass. It was a passable show. We'll just say that. Lots to work on. I really like the fact that they're out on the road, but when they're taped a week in advance, there's no steam to it. There's no energy to it. So, hey, make sure you're checking out Primetime this Saturday night over at PWRshow.com. Also, if you want to watch them broadcast live from Karma this Monday night, 10 o'clock, if you're in the Milwaukee area, it's downtown, 600 East Ogden. Damian Nelson, David Hero will be down there. Thank you for joining us tonight on Sudden Impact Radio. I'm the man they call Meathead. We'll see you next week.